Hello, everyone. Grief doesn't always sound like screaming. Sometimes it's silence between two people who once shared everything. This is the story of how Daniel and his wife lost their son and nearly lost each other. Today, Daniel is here to tell us what happened. Before we listen to the story, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe us for more stories.
I'm Daniel Hart, and for a year I couldn't say my son's name without breaking. My wife Lily and I lost our only child to a sudden illness that came like a wave and pulled us under. One moment we were reading bedtime stories, the next we were holding his hand as he slipped away in the pediatric ICU. Our son, Max, was 6. 3 months later, Lily moved out. Not because she stopped loving me, but because everything in our house reminded her of what we lost, and she thought I wasn't grieving the way she needed me to. The truth was, I didn't know how to grieve at all. In the weeks after Max's funeral, we barely spoke. Lily cried openly. I worked longer hours. I couldn't look at his room without feeling like the air had been sucked from my lungs. But she sat there for hours, folding his clothes, reading his favorite books, like he might walk in again. "Why won't you cry?" she once asked me. I didn't have an answer. I just stared ahead, numb. Her departure wasn't dramatic. She packed a single suitcase and moved into her friend Clara's place across town. Clara was also her therapist and had been helping Lily manage the unbearable. I stayed behind in the silence. Our neighbor, Mrs. Everett, a kind widow in her 70s, brought over casseroles every other day and left them without saying much. Until one afternoon, when she walked right in and sat down across from me. "She needs to see you bleed a little, Daniel," she said quietly. "Otherwise, she thinks she's the only one hurting." It was the first time I cried in front of someone. One rainy night, I found Lily's journal in a drawer she hadn't emptied. I didn't mean to read it, but it fell open. The entry was dated 2 weeks after the funeral. I don't know if he still loves Max, or if he ever loved me. I feel alone, even when he's in the room. I wrote her a letter, pages and pages, about how Max looked just like her when he laughed, about the time I sat in his room for hours and couldn't bring myself to touch a thing, about how I was afraid that if I let myself cry, I'd never stop. I never mailed it, but I started writing more, to her, to Max, to myself. Meanwhile, Clara convinced Lily to invite me to a support group for grieving parents. I didn't want to go, but something in her text felt like a crack in the wall she'd built. "You don't have to say anything, just be there." I showed up late, sat in the back. Lily was across the room. Her eyes found mine for a moment, and that was enough to keep me from leaving. A man next to me told a story about his daughter's favorite shoes, still sitting by the door after 3 years. That night, I dreamed about Max. A week later, I found Lily sitting on our front porch, just sitting. She didn't have a bag, she wasn't crying. She looked like she had things to say, but didn't know where to start. I sat beside her. We didn't talk about Max. We talked about the rain, about how Mrs. Everett's tomatoes were finally growing, about anything that didn't hurt. But healing sneaks in through small doors. We started meeting once a week at the park. Sometimes we just walked. Other times, we sat on a bench and watched kids play, without saying a word. Each silence was a little softer than the last. One day she said, "I read your letters." My throat tightened. I never sent them. Clara found them. I asked her to go to the house and pick up my mail. She read one and thought I needed to. We both laughed and then cried. And then we talked about Max for hours. 6 months after she left, Lily moved back in. Not all at once. First a drawer, then a toothbrush, then her laughter. We turned Max's room into a reading space, not to forget him, but to give the room new breath. We left his favorite toy truck on the shelf. Every now and then, one of us would go in and sit alone. But now, we told each other when we did. We learned that grief wasn't a wall to climb over. It was something we had to carry together. Sometimes I still cry in the car when his favorite song plays. Sometimes Lily lights a candle by his photo. But now we grieve in the open. And when we do, we reach for each other. We're not fixed. We're not over it. We never will be. But we're here, together. Thank you for listening to our story.
Thank you for your attention. If you liked the story, please hit the like button. And don't forget to subscribe us for more stories.